Action. Well, what's up, guys? Today is currently July 22nd, and I am 17 weeks, not 7 weeks. Oh my gosh, that would be weird. 17 weeks and God, 2 days pregnant. It's crazy. I feel like time has flown. And I just kind of wanted to get on here and give a little update, kind of like feels in that first trimester and kind of what I was going through, because a lot of that was a little bit secretive. Some people knew, a lot of people didn't. And it was like really tough to go through. And now that everyone knows, I just kind of wanted to share some feels on that and then talk about currently what's going on and then what the future looks like, the near future. The very near future, next week future, haha. So I found out I was pregnant literally the week before online semifinals, and I was just like, Randy and I were, let's just say we were just like playing without a goalie for like 2 months, and that's what happens, ladies and gentlemen, when you play without a goalie. I go back and forth because I think we're still like shocked that it happened so quickly for us, but we're also super grateful because I know there's a lot of people I know personally and a lot of stories out there where people try over and over and over again for years, even like a decade, and it just either never happens or it takes like 5, 6, 7 years to finally get pregnant. So I am really grateful that for me and Randy, everything works down there, and it literally took us like 2 months to get pregnant. So it was definitely a surprise, but I guess we can't be super surprised because of, you know, like I said, playing without a goalie. But I also was a little bit surprised too, just because like I've put my body through the ringer the past, well, basically 2 decades with all the eating disorders I had. I currently deal with PCOS, which is like cysts that sit in your ovaries. And fun fact, I actually have one in there with my baby right now. So we're not worried about it, but we're definitely gonna monitor it and just make sure everything stays okay with that. And then, yeah, just like what I do for a career, right? Like 5, 6 hours of training every single day. I've done that since I was like 5, 6, 7 years old, 36 hours a week. And so Randy and I just had the thought that it would either take us 2 or 3 years to get pregnant, or it wasn't gonna happen. And I think we were both at peace with it. We're like, it's probably just like not gonna happen for us. And so I think that's where like the shocked phase came in for us. So we're just like, oh gosh, it's happened. And then it's also scary too, because like my body is my career, and there really isn't a good time to like start a family when it pertains to competing for a living. And it's been shown, there's facts, right, that like over the course of my whole career, I've had to take a break with my back, and sponsors drop you, and like finances change, and it's just like a really scary and vulnerable place to be. But I think through my whole career, God has really given me favor with that. And He's allowed me to continue to do this as a living, even with the breaks that I've had with my back. And so I'm just like trusting that if that's the plan that He has for me, and that I get to continue to do this for a lot longer, then it'll be shown, and just trying to have peace about it. So yeah, and then competing at online semifinals, I honestly was like, I'm Superwoman, I'm going to the games. Like I had my whole year planned out. I was like, I'm gonna do the World Fitness Project. I'll probably compete in both of those. I'll do the CrossFit Games, and then I'll take a break, and I'll nest, between September and then December is when I give birth. So I'll just nest for the next 3 months after that. Well, those were not my plans or God's plans for me. I stepped into online semifinals and instantly felt like all of the feels that you could with being pregnant. It just was made known very quickly that my plans were gonna go out the door. And I think that was like really hard for me to deal with, because I really wanted to be the exception. And I really just wanted to compete pregnant. I really just wanted to do that for some reason. And so I think I was battling those emotions as well as battling the actual symptoms of being pregnant both during online semifinals and at the World Fitness Project. And it was really hard. I think mentally it took a huge toll on me. And I actually got back from the World Fitness Project and didn't step in the gym for like 2 weeks after, because I was just like mentally burnt out. I was like, I'm never competing again. Like, it was very extreme, but I was just like that turned off by everything just because of how hard it was to compete while pregnant. So I don't know if I would do that again. If I get pregnant again, I would probably just take the year off like a normal person and not try to push my body like that. But I had to try. I think for me, people maybe will look at that and be like, oh, that's so like abusive to your body, and why would you put yourself through that? But it was a personal decision that I made with Randy that I needed to do that for myself. And I knew that I wasn't harming myself because I've been doing CrossFit for 8 years competitively. I've been a competitive athlete for most of my life. So I knew if there was signals that would tell me I did not need to do this, and I didn't get any of those signals. It was just a mental battle the entire time. So I think it was a double-edged sword at the end of the day. Yeah, online semifinals, my heart rate was spiking really bad. And I was just like on the floor after each event, and it was just like, ugh. Those workouts were not easy for me. I think even if I was at my healthiest, those would still have been hard workouts, but I think I would have been able to like push mentally and physically. But I did not have it in me whatsoever. And I was like looking at Randy in the middle of the workouts, like, I want to be done and I want to quit. And then there was a whole other layer when I went to World Fitness Project of like having to do that in front of everybody. And kind of feeling like this, a little bit of like loneliness, just because like I didn't feel like at that point I could tell people that I was pregnant. My inner circle knew, but like the whole world didn't know at that point. And it was just like kind of, I don't know, kind of like awkward, I guess, because I'm going out there and giving half effort. But after how I felt at online semifinals, I just knew that I was not going to be able to push, and I didn't want to push my body that way. But I also still wanted to show up. So yeah, that was a battle of like crying in the warm-up area, wanting to quit, and then not quitting. So I was proud of myself. And then I was proud that my back held up too, because those workouts were not good for my back. But that was not the issue, guys. Ladies and gents, everyone thinks that it was my back. It was not my back. My back was fine the entire time. Woo! It was just, I was nauseous and sick and knew that I just like could not push. So there's that. Took a couple weeks off, got back here and just started doing class just to like make it fun again for myself, and started finding joy in that. The first trimester was really hard, but I just knew if I didn't work out that it was just gonna be even worse. So actually, fun fact, I was like nauseous like pretty much all day, but that hour of training that I did in class, I was not nauseous. So it was like a little bit of relief from nausea. And then my goal this entire time is just to get like 10 to 15,000 steps a day. And that's been like, I think the inner athlete in me, that's just like, it's a good goal to have. So it gives me something to kind of shoot for on a day-to-day basis. And then in the middle of the first and second trimester, we actually ended up having to move. I do not recommend that whatsoever. It was terrible. Not something we wanted to do. We've been in this place for like 3 years, and we were just having like issue after issue, like 3 leaks in 3 months. The AC went out, the water heater went out. And so our lease was up in June, and the landlords were just like, you have 30 days to get out. I was like, okay. So basically we moved. Thankfully, it was just like a couple of houses down. So we're like still in the same community that we're in, which is what I really wanted. But we moved in like 10 days. And let me tell you, zero stamina whatsoever. I have zero stamina. That's one thing that's been really hard to deal with is I'm a doer. Like if I have to move, I can move in 1 day. Like I don't care how much stuff I have, I'm gonna get everything out. I'm gonna clean everything. Everything is just gonna be moved to the next place. 24 hours. Give me 24 hours. No, that was not the case this time. I was like dying, I was crying. It was just like full of nightmares. So that was not fun. But then my mom came to the rescue. Thanks, Mom. And she came out here and helped me like unpack everything. But it's been a long month, a very stressful month. And I started getting a lot of symptoms that I felt in the first trimester into the second trimester, like nausea, headaches, just like not feeling good. And I think I've realized personally for me in this pregnancy journey, a lot of my symptoms come from stress. And so obviously there was a lot of stress in that first trimester with like trying to compete. And then now with the move and stuff, it just caused I think the symptoms to just be enhanced. So I would be interested of how many symptoms I would actually have without having all the stress that I had. So that's kind of what I've been doing currently. I'm also behind the scenes working on some podcasting stuff, and I've kind of more or less been vlogging this pregnancy under wrap. Not every week, because Bethany did not have that. That was her goal. That did not happen. I think I've filmed like maybe 4 or 5 different times, but just kind of like sharing my thoughts about what was going on during that week. Like I did one, I think before the competitions and then like right after, and kind of like my feels. So just like an in-depth more talk than what I'm doing right now. So I'm going to continue to work on that, I think, through this pregnancy whenever I have energy to, but like my creativity and like the brain fog is like crazy right now. I feel like I have all this time, but I feel like I can't do anything with this time. It's a bad combo. So I'm hoping that gets a little bit better now that we're like moved into this new place. I don't have as much stress, but that's been really hard for me because I'm so much of a doer. I just want to do all day long, and the stamina is not there, the perseverance isn't there, the energy isn't there. So that's been really hard to cope with, but I just have a lot of respect for women that work and do this and be pregnant, because it's just really hard. It's a freaking war. Let me tell you, it's a war. But what's happening, like I said, today is July 22nd. I am leaving July 30th to go out to the CrossFit Games because I'm actually going to be a part of the broadcasting team, which I'm really excited about. I've never done anything like that before, and I can't believe that I got a position on the broadcasting team, but thank you, CrossFit, for trusting me with this. I am not the main analyst, I'm just a color analyst, but yeah, I'm excited to see if it's something that I like doing. I know that I want to compete as long as possible, but I also know I'm going to be off this year, and I don't know what next year is going to look like with giving birth in December. I would assume I'll probably take off next year, but I just don't know. So this gives me an opportunity to see if I like something else within CrossFit, and who knows, it could lead to, you know, something bigger, better that I enjoy doing. But yeah, if I can compete too, that would be a win. Yeah, we'll see. I really want to do something with my writing because I've been writing a lot since like 2021, and I feel like I should do something with speaking, which is why I started doing all this YouTube stuff to like work on reps. And I'm hoping that I am decently okay at this broadcasting thing, but who knows? If you don't try, you don't know. So this will be a great experience. Be kind, guys. Don't be so mean on there if I mess up, because I'm sure I will, because there's gonna be so much going on. It's like you wear a headset, which I'm not used to. So it's like you're almost like hearing yourself talk, but then you're hearing other people talk, and then there's like buttons, and then you have to figure out, like I'm doing a bunch of homework right now on like all the teams, because I'm not on the indie side, I'm on the team side, and I've never done team before, and I've never watched team at all. So I'm like, it's a lot of pressure. But I am excited for the opportunity, and we'll see what comes about with that. Hopefully I get to do something with World Fitness Project in the broadcasting. That is my fingers being crossed. And then my year will probably be done with all that stuff. Cause I'll be farther along once the end of August hits. I'll be like 22, 23 weeks, which is kind of weird to think about. So that's kind of what's been going on right now. And then I think September through December, my due date is December 28th. It's just about nesting, getting the baby's room together, figuring out a baby's name, because that's a lot of pressure. I feel pressure with that. Yeah, just kind of enjoying this rest period. Like I said, it's really hard for me to rest, and it's really hard for me to like not do things, but I think there's always a reason behind things, and I think this came at actually a really good time in my life. So like I said, I am really, really thankful and grateful that Randy and I can do something together and produce something together. and that we're both healthy enough to do this is very scary. And I'm so scared to be a mom, and I'm scared to be pregnant, and I'm scared to give birth, but you just take it one day at a time. So that's what I'm trying to do right now. And yeah, I think I'm gonna try to continue to do some updates with the YouTube videos, but if there's anything that y'all guys wanna see, let me know. But yeah, so thank you for watching. Thank you for continuing to just be a part of this journey. It has been a crazy journey since 2017. So thank you guys for whoever's been just following my journey since then. And for all the new people too, thank you for that as well. And we're just gonna keep it rolling and see what happens with being pregnant and doing life. Scary. So catch y'all later. Bye.